welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And if you are here on Friday, June 16th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are in the chat room right next door. Come on over and say hello, because it's Junk Journal Friday and I have lots of things to share with you today. So first off, last week, or in an earlier video this week, I had mentioned that I had something that you could take your Pearl X powders, and I'm trying it with the Lindy's, to add gum arabic to it, and it will create a solid that you can turn into a watercolor paint surface. And this, I'm going to do this right like this, and then you can paint with it. So you don't have to worry about it drying out. Turn it into a paint palette, and then you can come back and keep using your pigment powders over and over. Like I said, I've got one started right now that I'm trying with the Lindy's, and we'll see how it works out. I will show you that next Friday. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, my Pearl X powder out of the way, couple of things first. I finally got new printer ink, and you can see here the difference in what, having good ink quality makes. I'm going to flip these down just like this. And you can see this has kind of a vintagey brown to it. This is the color it's supposed to be. The same with the green, I have more of a teal. And that's okay, those colors work fine. Then we have this one, has more of an aqua tone as opposed to the blue that my printer came out with the first time. And then this one is supposed to be a green and a peach, and I got more of a teal and a coral the first time when my ink was running out. So I have these to play with for the Teapots and Fairies, or Teacups and Fairies journal stuff that I'm using for LineDotArrow. Another sample of the difference was, this was my first printing of the cards for all the characters that Natalie has created, and this is the new color with a full ink cartridge. They both work fantastically in the color scheme of things, so I'm okay with that, but I just wanted to show you the difference of the color pigmentation when you start running out. Notice that fairies are a lot more vibrant when you have a full ink cartridge. So there was that. Now, the reason I was playing with that today and put a new ink cartridge in is because I'm getting all these pieces fussy cut out to do the challenge pieces for Natalie. And so I went through and I printed one of the sheets over again with the new colors, with the bright ink. And this is going to be the cover for my ephemera booklet that I will keep Natalie's fairy stuff in. I get my papers. And then on the inside, and you'll notice this one came out just a little bit. Am I going to lose part of my fairy? Yeah, I am, but that's okay. So this will become my cover for my journal. And I'll put the vellum pockets in. Now, I noticed there's a gal on Facebook, and I don't remember which group it was in right now, but she had sewn all of her vellum pockets into her ephemera books. I'm going to show you my ephemera books that I made a couple of years ago. Some of you may or may not have seen them, to keep all of my Tim Holtz ephemera in. And I glued them in with the double back tape, and you can see they're starting to come apart. So I'm going to take these books apart. I'm just going to take an afternoon, take the books apart, and I'm going to go back and stitch the pockets into place. And then I won't be losing my ephemera out of them. And then I'll stitch the signatures back in together with the thread. And so that's what I'm going to do with this one. Now for the background papers for this, for the background papers, I'm using another one of Natalie's papers. And I've just printed this on both sides, and this will become the inside pages for the ephemera book. So I hope to have at least this one put together for you and show you next Friday when I show you my challenge elements for LineDotArrow. Okay. Takes care of that one. Friday is kind of like a show and tell around here. So I finished my journal or my tag for one of my challenges for Maddie. Except I cut out a teapot from Natalie's and forgot to bring it over here with me. So I'm going to put this on the top of this tag. I think it will fit well in here. I'm not going to worry about fussy cutting this inner side out. I'm not going to worry about that. We're just going to go ahead and glue it into place on the top of this tag. I am really struggling today. I've had a really rough night's sleep last night. And I know that I've got glue there where I don't need it, and I'll worry about it later. It'll dry, because when it dries, I can come back and I can dust the back of that tag with baby powder, and the sticky won't be there anymore. And then I backed it with what was the backing for this packaging. I just put the label that said Bo Bunny and all the, the UPC and all that stuff. I glued it down, face down, so that I still had this all to write on. So this tag is finished and ready to be placed into the tag challenge at Spectrum Art Creations and Friends. One project down. Second project that I finished was my Rolodex. And you can see where all the little daisies have dried on the curtains, and the curtains on the curtain rods with the window in the background. And then I have a whole collection of these different types of beads, and I used one of these. They are flat. They look like little tires. They look like little tires on little Matchbox cars. And I glued one of those down on each of what is supposed to be the cabinet doors, and then glued a daisy on top. And then I added a clock brad that I got from Maddie at Spectrum Art Creations, except I cut the brad part off. It's actually a pocket watch. Cut the stem off the pocket watch and turned it into a wall clock above the window. And I did the same with the phone brad down here. I just cut the brad thingies off and glued it down, because in our house in Platteville, Colorado, we had, let me see if I can find a piece of paper so this will make sense. I'll leave this lay here. Our kitchen was way over here. And we had an island that come out here. And so there was always a phone here on the counter. And there was always a 32-cup coffee pot like you see at church socials sitting on the counter. And that thing had coffee in it 12 hours a day. And then our dining room table sat over here. And the way I learned to cook was my mom would sit over here, and she would tell me what I needed to do, and I had the kitchen all to myself while she sat over here and gave me instructions. That's how I learned to cook. So having the kitchen all to myself became a major part of knowing that Bob was the person for me, because I'd never shared the kitchen with anybody. It was my domain. And when Bob and I moved in together and I could work in the kitchen with him and we worked well as a team, I knew he was the man I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. All because my mom sat over here in her corner at the dining room table and told me how to do what I was doing in the kitchen. And after Dad died, she always sat here, Dad always sat here. I think he guarded the coffee pot. And after Dad died and Mom finally got her green and yellow kitchen with her Daisy Cafe curtains, yeah, so the memory that goes with this. And then I've got the back of this where I can write the memory down. So one of the cards for the Rolodex challenge is done, for the Memory Dex challenge is done, and this one is particular to the color challenge given to me by Brian at B&D Crafts and More. So thanks, Brian, because you helped me create a Memory Dex with a memory attached. Thank you. Okay, next we have the cards that we made last week, or the pockets rather. I got out my sewing machine and I'm still working on the stitching. I've used this sewing machine, counting today, twice. And I'm still trying to figure out where all the stitches are at and getting things lined up, and it seems like everything is really loose. It looks better on here than it does on here. Now, isn't that just the weirdest part? Maybe I need to learn to turn stuff over and stitch from the back to get my zigzag. We'll see what happens. But this is the one that we colored in with the watercolor pencils. Added the rub-on from Crafter Square, the chat sticker from Tim Holtz, and both the ribbon on this one and on this one are from Stampin' Up. This is the tulip one that we painted with the Magicals, Lindy's Magicals. And I thought what I might do is go back over, wouldn't this butterfly be beautiful if I touched it up with Lindy's Magicals? If I do that, I'll show that back off to you next week. Okay. Then, as part of those two pockets, I got the cover stitched on this journal. And now I'm going to have to go through and stitch in my signatures. And I need to do it before my pockets get lost out of place. So I will probably try and do that tomorrow. And get that stitched in. And I saw something, I don't remember who to give credit to for how they did this. But we've all seen the different types of clips to put on the top to hold your signatures in place. Well, you know, we've used our bowl clips. We've used our big paper clips. Well, I got one that does it just a tad different. She uses the big paper clips. Let me fasten that so I can pick it up and move it. She uses the big paper clips, but she uses a piece of cardstock to give her a little extra control. And I'm not going to have this in here centered for this, just to show this. But the extra length of the cardstock helps to hold things in place a little more secure. So you take you about a 6-inch length of cardstock, fold it in half, and you fold it over your page just like that. And then put your paper clip in place. And you get a better hold with your paper clip by having this extra width of cardstock on here. And you would do that to the top and the bottom both. So I thought that was a really cool trick. So I'm going to get this stitched together this week. And then we can start putting things in this journal, because we only have a couple of weeks left to finish our June journal. Let's stick that over here. Speaking of, in July, we have the color challenge, same as always, but we do have a guest on my blog, and it is Tracy Easson. She is an amazing artist and has her own stamp line. She is in the UK. I'm going to leave her link to her Etsy shop down below. If you'd like to go in and get a set of stamps ordered. I ordered mine this week and they should be here around July 3rd. So if you want to get a set of Tracy stamps, they're very whimsical and I just absolutely love them. I can't wait for them to come in and show you. Now, you do not have to have Tracy's stamps to do anything that we are going to play with next month. But it's a nice nod to the artist who is going to be inspiring us for the month of July. And the month of July is Christmas in July. So I'm going to be doing, I have the color challenge for July, but I'm also going to be doing a Christmas in July. So I'm going to have extra videos in July because I'm going to be featuring projects that are all Christmas themed. So that's going to have me busy next month. One other thing with the memory decks, I did get, this paper is from Follow Your Art. It's a retired paper line from Stampin' Up, and I really love the colors in this, the play with the paint smears. I really like that. And here is my box. As I said, I showed it to you before. It was a sardine can. This will hold like 12 cans of sardines. And I've painted it with 2 layers of gesso, and it still wasn't covering all the blue and all the marketing on the box. So I went over it with 2 coats of chalk paint. And so now I'm going to be cutting pieces to cut here, to glue here, to glue on the back and on the front, because all these other flaps are going to fold in. So you won't see any of those other flaps, just the ones on the outside where I've marked with my X's. So I'm going to have that glued together hopefully next week, because I want to get it off my work table and make room for, you know, start getting the July stuff put together. So that is what's going on in the studio. And we only have about 5 minutes left. So let's do something fun. Let's pull something from Maddie's at Spectrum Art Creation, something I have bought for them. See, Let It Snow. Let's do some Bow Bunny. Oh, yeah, no, wait. I have some fairy stuff from her. I have Fairyland from Maddie. Hunky Dory. And I have this kind of stuff, and I have these. But here's what I want to do. I want to pull out what I have from Maddie, and let's make a tag really quick, because tags are really super easy to do. It's probably easier to do the tag than figure out how to get the paper open. Oh, good gravy. That is stuck to the inside of the package. That does not make me happy. There we go. We're going to get rid of that one. I like this. That's pretty. Oh, also, Maddie has a design team now, and we were introduced to one of her first design team members today, Oriana. And so I'm going to link Ori's premiere video down below. She did something with Graphic 45 Fairies. Oh, this is not Hunky Dory. This is Graphic 45. I guess I had Graphic 45 and Hunky Dory both in here. So let's do something with the Graphic 45 really quick. Let's do this. And to do that, we need to cut off the band at the top. Now my timer is going to go off in a minute, and I'm going to stop it really quick. And here's what I want to do. I have goodness gracious, I have all kinds of tag backs up here, and you'd think I could get a hold of one. Here's one. This is just a piece of cookie box packaging, and I'm going to put on this side. That way I have the white on the back for, I'll have the white on the back for, oh, you know, journaling on. Geez, some days. And I have a book here that I've been using, and because I'll probably stitch around this later, I am going to go ahead and use a glue stick, and I want this right there. Let's pull that down. we go. And I'm going to burnish it really quick. And I just shut my timer off so it doesn't ding at us. Okay. Now, I want to see, and I don't do with my scissors very well, partially because my trimmers. But I'm going to turn this over. I can come back and trim it, but I want to get that out of the way. And I'm going to take the bottom of this off. See where this has got this glue nub down here on the bottom? I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. So I am going to lose part of that paper on the other side. Just like that. And that's not even worth worrying about for what I lost. Okay, and then I'm going to come back with my scissors. And I would do this better with my short scissors, but they're over on the table. Trim this up and show you just how easy it is to do a tag. Now I am going to be doing an entire tag series on Tag Tuesday where we will go from super basic tags to get some really intricate things going on. So you're going to want to come back for that. And now also in that Graphic 45 series, I got 2 packages of ephemera, and I'm going to dump it all out, and I'll worry about putting it back later. That's too big for the clock. Don't want the frame. This one would be pretty. There's that one. There's also this one, a smaller tag that would stand out. Make a Wish, that's the one I want. Let's do Make a Wish on here. And I'm going to come in with my Distress inks and my dauber. And we're just going to edge that. And I'm going to put the lid back on that now so I don't forget. Then I'm coming in with this. And, oh, I've been telling you about the Westcott scissors. These ran around $10 a pair. I saw at Walmart last night where they have them in a 3-pack where you get this size, you get a size that comes down to about here, and then you have a smaller size similar to my Fussy Cuts. So you get 3 sizes for under $16. Excellent buy. And they're made so that when you cut things that are sticky, they don't stick. Okay. So I'm going to put this on here, cut our edges. And actually, no, I don't think I'm going to use those pieces. I will save them for something else. I'm going to take this and cut that just like that, and I can trim it off just like that. I'm trying to use up what is in my office, in my studio, and get it out of the way. So I'm going to put that right there. Now I do want to clip this on the top, and I swear, if I could keep track of those, I have them when I don't need them, and then when I go to look for them, I can't find them. My tag edges, they just, poof, they vanish. So, that one's too small. I've got a larger one up here. This one's closer to the size we need. I'm going to butt him up just like that, and because that is glued on there, I am going to use my sticky scissors. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to come in with my hole punch. Just like that. And let's do some pretty yarn. And while I'm getting this on here, I'm going to tell you that I will be back here on Monday, remember we have an extra thing going on with the memory decks. So I'm going to have that going on Monday. We'll have a new memory decks card. I think I'm taking Tuesday off. I have to get up at all dark 30 to run a video up, and I need sleep. I need sleep. So there may or may not be a video on Tuesday, but then we'll be back here Wednesday for another color. No, remember to check the community tab on Wednesday to see what we're going to be doing on Thursday for the color challenge. And there's another tag for the tag challenge at Spectrum Art Creations. Thanks for joining me in the studio today and in the chat room right next door. I will see you back here next week. In the meantime, remember to like, to share, and subscribe. And as always, creative blessings.